What if you could defeat the anxiety, fear, and self-doubt that hold you back with one simple mental shift? This story reveals that secret explained in simple English that will improve your listening. For more life-changing lessons that build your confidence and your vocabulary, subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a video. The book we are going to talk about is not just a book. It is more than that. It is a movement, a guide, a friend that can lead you to a life of peace, power, and confidence. It is called The Power of Positive Thinking, written by Dr. Vincent Peale. Since it was first published, this incredible book has sold over 15 million copies all around the world. It has been translated into more than 40 languages, and it has helped millions of people. People who were hurting, who needed to heal, who wanted to find peace and believe in themselves again. But what I am sharing with you today is not just a motivational speech. This is a system. It is a special way of thinking, of speaking, of believing, and of acting that brings real, lasting change to your life. So many people who felt depressed, broken, anxious, or hopeless. They read this book, and it was like they came back to life. Please stay with me until the very end, because this one book might give you the faith, the power, and the confidence that you have been searching for your entire life. Are you ready? Let's begin. This book has a total of 20 chapters. In our time together today, I will explain all of them one by one in detail. I will use simple English and powerful real-life examples that you can connect with. Chapter 1 is about believing in yourself. You see, if you don't believe in yourself, it is very hard for the world to believe in you. Most people fail before they even start something new. Why? Because deep inside, a little voice is telling them, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not lucky like other people. These thoughts, they are silent killers of our dreams. This chapter tells us that we must build our confidence from the inside. Imagine a young boy named Sam. In his school, he was always the quiet one. He sat at the back of the class and never said a word. He thought to himself, I can't speak English like the other students. If I try, I will look stupid. And so, because of this fear, he never raised his hand. He never practiced speaking. But one day, a kind teacher came to him and said, Sam, you are not less than anyone else. You just think that you are. Those simple words changed something inside of Sam. He started talking to himself in a new way, a positive way. Every morning, he would look in the mirror and say, I can learn. I am not afraid. I will improve. It felt strange at first, but he kept doing it. 6 months later, that same quiet boy, Sam, was standing on a stage. He was giving a speech in English. Of course, his hands were shaking a little, but his heart was strong. Why? It was because he finally believed in himself. This chapter teaches us a powerful lesson. We have to remove that negative voice inside our heads. We need to replace it with positive self-talk. You should speak to yourself with the same kindness you would show to someone you love. Here is an action tip for you. Every morning for the next 30 days, I want you to look in the mirror and say these words out loud. I believe in myself. I am capable. I can do difficult things. Try it. I promise you will begin to feel unstoppable. Chapter 2 teaches us that a peaceful mind creates a powerful life. You cannot think clearly if your mind is full of noise and chaos. This chapter shows you how to make your mind peaceful because that peace gives you real power. Think about your phone for a moment. When you have too many apps open and running at the same time, the phone becomes slow, doesn't it? Your brain works in the same way. Feelings like anger, stress, jealousy, and overthinking are like apps running in the background. They drain your energy. To live a powerful life, you must learn to calm the storm inside your mind. Let me tell you about a woman named Maria. She worked very hard, but she was always tired, angry, and sad. At work, her boss would shout. At home, her kids would complain. Her husband did not seem to listen to her. One day, feeling completely overwhelmed, she went to a park and sat under a big tree. She closed her eyes and just breathed slowly and deeply. There was no phone, no noise, no one making demands. There was just silence. She decided to do this for 10 minutes every single day. Slowly, something began to change in her life. She started to smile more. She spoke to people calmly instead of with anger. And a funny thing happened. People started respecting her more. Her life didn't get lucky all of a sudden. She just made her mind peaceful, and that inner peace changed her entire outer world. This chapter teaches us to disconnect from the chaos. Go for a quiet walk. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Talk to yourself like a kind friend. Before you go to bed, read something peaceful. Not the news, not gossip or drama. Remember this simple truth: peace equals power. When your mind is peaceful, your life becomes powerful. Chapter 3 is about stopping our fear of the future. Fear is the biggest killer of dreams. Most people don't fail because the problems are too big. They fail because they are afraid of the possibility of problems. They are always asking, what if? What questions? What if I lose my money? What if people laugh at me? What if I fail? But this chapter asks a better question. What if you succeed? It teaches us not to let fear control our lives. For example, there was a young man who had a dream. He wanted to start his own little cafe. But he was so afraid. He had never run a business before. He had no experience. One day, he went to his old wise grandfather and asked him, "Grandfather, what if I fail?" The old man smiled a gentle smile and said, "Then, my boy, you will learn. And if you don't even try, you will only regret it for the rest of your life." That day, the young man made a decision. He took a small loan and opened his cafe. And you know what? It failed in 6 months. But he did not give up. He did not let the failure stop him. He studied. He learned from his mistakes, and he opened another cafe. Today, he owns 5 successful cafes. Why? Because he stopped asking, "What if I fail?" And he started asking, "What if I fly?" This chapter teaches us that fear is not real. It only lives in our imagination. You must face your fear talk to it, and then walk right through it. Courage is not about having no fear. Courage is taking action even when you feel fear. Here is one sentence to remember. Don't fear the future. Shape it with your actions. Chapter 4 explains how to create your own happiness. You see, happiness is not something that you wait for. It is something that you create. So many people think, "Oh, I will be happy when I get that new job," or "I will be happy when I get married," or "I will be happy when I become rich." But if your happiness always depends on something outside of you, you will always be chasing it and never quite catching it. This chapter says that we have to start with happiness on the inside. There was once a very rich businessman. He told a friend, "I have everything I could ever want, but I feel empty." He had all the money, the fame, a beautiful big house. But he had no peace in his heart. So he started to do small things. He began spending time with poor children on Sundays, just playing with them. He started to call his mother every single night just to talk. He planted trees in his garden. He started saying, "Thank you," more often to the people around him. Slowly, very slowly, he started to smile again. It was a real smile this time. He realized that happiness is not found in big things. It is found in small moments. It is in giving to others. It is in connection. It is in gratitude. This chapter teaches us to smile first, not because life is perfect, but simply because you are alive. Stop comparing your life to others. Start appreciating what you have. Find joy in the small things like a warm cup of tea with your mother, a hug from your child, or just a quiet moment alone. Here is one powerful line to remember. If you want to be happy, don't wait for it. Create it. Chapter 5 tells us to expect the best, and we will get it. Your mind works like a magnet. If you truly think that good things are going to happen, you start to attract them into your life. But if you expect to fail, that often becomes true as well. This chapter says we must always expect the best even when life looks dark and difficult. But why does this work? It's because when you expect something good, your brain becomes more creative. Your body feels more energetic. Your eyes start to see opportunities that you missed before. On the other hand, if you expect the worst, your brain starts to shut down, your body gets tired, and your heart becomes afraid. Here is a real-life example. There was a salesman named David. Every single morning before work, he would tell himself, "Today is going to be hard. No one will buy anything today. People just don't care." And guess what happened? He sold almost nothing, day after day. But one day, he decided to try something different. Before he left his house, he stood in front of the mirror and said with as much feeling as he could, "Today will be a great day. I will meet kind people. I will sell." In the beginning, nothing big changed. But slowly, his smile started to feel more real. His energy became stronger and more positive. He looked more confident when he talked to people. And so people started to listen to him, to trust him, and to buy from him. After just 3 months, David became the top salesperson in his company. Not because the world changed, but because he changed. This chapter teaches that what you expect often becomes your reality. You have a choice every day. You can expect miracles, or you can expect misery. Every single day, choose to expect success, not fear. Here is an action tip for you. Before any important moment in your day, a meeting, an interview, a difficult conversation, just close your eyes for a moment and say to yourself, "I expect the best possible outcome. I am ready." Try this for just 1 week. I promise your entire mindset will begin to change. Chapter 6 is about how to stop feeding your mind with fear. Fear is not just an emotion. It's like a poison. It destroys your peace, it weakens your body, and it steals your power. This chapter gives us one very big lesson. You have to starve your fears and feed your faith. Just think about it for a moment. What are you feeding your mind every day? If you are always watching negative news, listening to people complain, or comparing yourself to others on social media, you are feeding your mind with fear. But if you choose to read good books, talk to positive people, meditate, pray, or reflect, you are feeding your mind with peace and power. Let me share an example from real life. A woman named Julia suffered from panic attacks. She was afraid of everything, of losing her job, of losing her health, of losing her relationships. Her day would start with reading scary news headlines and end with watching gossip videos. Her mind had become a constant storm of anxiety. One day, her therapist gave her a simple task. For the next 30 days, she was not allowed to consume any negative content. No bad news, no gossip, Instead, she had to listen to positive music, walk in nature, and write in a gratitude journal every evening. At first, she laughed and said, "This is silly. This won't help." But she was desperate, so she did it anyway. By day 7, she started to feel a little better. By day 30, she had no more panic attacks. She felt like a completely different person. Why? It was simple. She had stopped feeding her fears. This chapter teaches that fear grows when you give it attention, like watering a plant. So you have to stop watering it. Instead of saying to yourself, "What if I fail?" start saying, "What if I grow?" Don't let fear be the author of your life story. Here is a powerful quote rephrased for simplicity. Feed your mind with courage, and your fear will die of hunger. Chapter 7 teaches us how to break the habit of worrying. Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't take you anywhere. This chapter presents a life-changing lesson. Worrying is a habit. And just like any other habit, it can be broken. Most of us think that worry is just a normal part of life, that we can't do anything about it. But this book says that you are not born with worry. You learn it from the world around you, and you can unlearn it. Here is a real example. There was a man named Nick who worried about everything. Every single day, he would think, "What if I lose my job? What if my wife leaves me? What if I get sick?" His mind was never at peace. One day, he heard a speaker say something that sounded strange. The speaker said, "Write down all your worries on a piece of paper. Then burn the paper." Nick thought it was a silly idea, but he decided to try it. He wrote down everything. "I'm afraid of being poor. I'm afraid of dying alone." Then he took the paper outside, lit a match, and watched it burn. As the smoke rose, he felt a little lighter. He kept doing this ritual every week, and slowly his worries started to lose their power over him. Why? Because he was releasing them, not holding them inside his mind. The chapter also gives another useful tip. Divide your worries into 3 different parts. First, there are the worries you can solve right now. For these, take action and solve them. Second, there are the worries you can't solve right now. For these, schedule a specific time later to think about them so you don't have to carry them all day. And third, there are the worries that are just silly and useless. For these, you must learn to just throw them out. This chapter teaches us that worry steals your sleep, your focus, and your joy. You need to face your worry. Don't hide from it. Replace your worry with problem solving. And here is one powerful reminder. Worry does not take away tomorrow's pain. It only takes away today's peace. Chapter 8 is about trusting the power that is greater than you. This chapter is deeply spiritual, but the message is very simple. It says that there is a power in this universe, something bigger and wiser than you are. When you learn to trust this power, you feel safe, strong, and protected. Some people call this power God. Some call it the universe. Some simply call it faith. Whatever name you choose to give it, the truth is this: you are not alone. There was a man whose business failed completely. He lost everything he had worked for. He tried everything to fix it. He applied for loans. He looked for investors. He was even begging people for help. But nothing worked. One day, sitting in complete silence in his empty office, he finally said, "I have done all that I can do. Now I let go. I trust." A strange feeling of peace came over him. And a week later, an old friend called him with a new opportunity. It wasn't magic, and it wasn't luck. It was the peace that came after total surrender. Think of a small child walking down a busy street with their father. The child doesn't fear the cars, the strangers, or the thought of falling. Why? Because they are holding their Father's hand tightly. That feeling of safety is what trust feels like. This chapter teaches that when you try to control every single thing in your life, you become tired, afraid, and weak. But when you learn to trust in something higher, your heart feels light. You realize you don't have to carry all the weight of the world alone. Here is a powerful practice for you. Each night before you fall asleep is whisper these words, I am not alone. I trust the path. I release my fear. If you do this, you will sleep better and live stronger. Chapter 9 explains how to have constant energy. So many people feel tired all the time. It's often not because their body is weak, but because their mind is exhausted. This chapter teaches a secret energy does not only come from food or sleep. It comes from your thoughts. Your thoughts can make you feel strong and vibrant, or they can destroy you from the inside. Let's imagine two different people. Person A wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh no, another hard day. I'm tired already." Person B wakes up and says, "Today is a gift. I am going to give it my best." Both of these people have the same job and a similar body. But by 10 huzuras in the morning, one of them already feels tired and drained, while the other feels alive and focused. Why is there such a difference? It is because of their mindset. There was a nurse named Emily who worked long 12-hour shifts in a busy hospital. She cared for patients, she helped doctors, and she was on her feet all day long. Yet other people would often ask her, "Emily, how do you always look so full of energy?" Her answer was very simple. She said, "I don't focus on how tired I am. I focus on why I do this job." Her energy did not come from drinking coffee. It came from her purpose. It came from helping others. Even when she had pain in her legs, she would smile at her patients because her mind was stronger than her body. This chapter teaches us that negative thoughts drain your energy while positive thinking creates energy. It gives strength to your body and brings joy to your heart. Try to start your day with words like, "I am strong, I am ready, I have a reason to live today." Here is a quick practice for when you need more energy. Every time you feel low or tired, stand up. Take a deep breath and say this out loud with force. I have all the energy I need. I am bigger than this moment. You will feel a shift inside you. Chapter 10 invites us to try prayer power. Now, this chapter is not about being a part of a specific religion. It is about connecting to a spiritual energy. It says that you are not alone in your struggles. When your own strength ends, there is a greater power that you can connect to. That power can be reached through something very simple. Prayer. Prayer is not about using perfect or fancy words. It is about speaking honestly from your heart. Even if you are sitting alone feeling broken and you just whisper, "Please help me," that is a prayer. There was a businessman who was losing everything: his company, his money, and even his marriage. He tried everything. He went to therapy, he hired coaches, he even took medication, but nothing seemed to help the deep feeling of hopelessness. One night, feeling completely alone, he said out loud to the empty room, "God, if you are there, I really need your help." In the silence that followed, he began to cry for the first time in many years. That single moment of surrender gave him a new kind of strength. It was not magic, but it was peace. He stopped trying to fight all of his battles alone. He started praying every morning, just taking 10 minutes for quiet time. Slowly, his life became clearer. This chapter teaches that prayer is not just about asking for things. It's about connecting to a source of peace and strength. You do not have to be religious to do this. You just have to be honest. Speak from your soul. If you make it a daily habit, you will never feel completely alone again. Here is a simple practice you can try. Every night before you go to sleep, quietly whisper 3 things. 1. Thank you for today. 2. Please forgive me for my mistakes. And 3. Please guide me tomorrow. This quiet, simple habit can make your heart feel strong even in the darkest of moments. Chapter 11 is about a topic that can be life-changing. Stop holding grudges. This chapter says that when you hold anger and resentment towards someone, it is like you are drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness is not about making the other person feel better. It is about freeing yourself from the pain. So many people carry heavy pain from their past. A friend who betrayed them, a partner who cheated on them, a family member who hurt them deeply. And they say to themselves, I will never forgive that person. But this way of thinking only keeps the wound open and fresh. Forgiveness is what allows the wound to finally close. You do it not for them, but for you. There was a man who had not spoken to his own brother for 12 long years. Why? Because many years ago, his brother had insulted him in front of other people. As the years passed, the pain inside the man did not go away. It grew. One day, he read this line in a book, "Forgive not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace." The words hit him so hard that he began to cry. He picked up the phone and called his brother. They both cried on the phone and they both started to heal. The man did not lose his pride by forgiving. He gained his peace. This chapter teaches us that forgiveness is a form of power. It actually takes more strength to forgive someone than it does to hate them. Forgiving someone does not mean that what they did was okay. It simply means that you are choosing to have peace in your heart instead of pain. Let it go. Not for them, but for you. Here is a simple practice you can try. Close your eyes and think of the name of someone who hurt you. Then quietly whisper, I forgive you. I release this pain. I choose peace. You don't ever have to say it to them. You just need to say it to free your own soul. Chapter 12 encourages us to live a controlled and relaxed life. In our modern world, people are always rushing. Running and competing. We wake up in a hurry, we work in a hurry, we eat in a hurry, and we go to sleep full of worry. But this chapter teaches something very powerful. A calm life is not a boring life. It is a smart, successful, and happy life. When you learn to live in a relaxed and controlled way, you make better decisions, you enjoy life's moments more deeply, and you live with much more strength. There was a man named Daniel. He was the CEO of a big company, and he was always in meetings on phone calls or answering emails. He was always busy. One day his doctor told him, Daniel, your heart is in danger. You need to slow down. So Daniel decided to change his life. He started waking up 30 minutes earlier so he could enjoy a quiet breakfast with his young daughter. He made a rule to stop checking his phone after 8:00 p.m. Every evening he would take a walk in the park near his house. He would leave his phone at home and just listen to the sound of the trees. He started to work with more focus, but with less panic. After just 6 months, he was healthier, happier, and even more productive than he had ever been before. He didn't do less work. He just did things in a better, calmer way. This chapter teaches us not to rush through life. Rushing does not bring success. Focus does. Don't try to do 50 things in one day. Instead, choose to do 5 things with love and attention, and that will be enough. Slow living is not lazy living. It is wise living. Here are some simple tips for a more controlled life. First, create a morning routine that is calm, not rushed. Second, try to eat slowly. Talk slowly and breathe more deeply. Third, learn to say no to things that are not necessary so you can protect your peace. Remember, being relaxed is not weak, and being controlled is not boring. It is strength in silence. Chapter 13 teaches us how to stay calm in every situation. Life is unpredictable. Bad things will sometimes happen. People will hurt you. Your plans will sometimes break. The road of life will get shaky. But this chapter gives us one very powerful truth: you cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. The biggest difference between a weak person and a strong person is this: the weak person reacts with anger, panic, or fear. The strong person stays calm, thinks clearly, and takes wise action. A young pilot was flying an airplane when suddenly one of the engines failed in the middle of the air. The passengers on the plane started screaming. The flight crew was panicking. But the pilot, he stayed calm. He said to himself, "Panic will not save anyone here. My calmness is their only chance of survival." He calmly followed the emergency protocol, he communicated clearly with the control tower, and he landed the plane safely. Later, when reporters asked him, "Weren't you scared?" he smiled and said, "Yes, of course I was scared. But fear doesn't fix a crisis. Clarity does." This chapter teaches that you do not need to react to every single thing that happens. Calmness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of great strength. When things in your life get out of your control, just breathe. Speak slowly. Act wisely. Here is a practice for developing calmness. The next time you feel angry, say nothing for 10 seconds. In that pause, take a deep breath. Then ask yourself this question: what is the wisest thing I can do right now? Your life will begin to change, not when things around you calm down, but when you do. Chapter 14 is about believing in the power of healing. This chapter is incredibly emotional and very powerful. It says that your mind has the power to help heal your body. That's right. Many diseases, pains, and even long-term health problems can improve when you learn to feed your mind with positive, peaceful, and healing thoughts. Modern science has proven this again and again. Our feelings of belief, hope, and peace can help our bodies heal faster. Let me tell you a real-life example. There was a woman named Susan who was diagnosed with cancer. The doctors told her that she might not survive for more than a year. But instead of falling into fear and despair, she made a powerful decision. Every morning she would listen to calming music. She would look at herself in the mirror, smile, and say, "My body is healing. My cells are strong. I will live." She also started helping other people in the hospital. She would read books to sick children and help feed the elderly patients. Her mind became filled with kindness and strength, not with sickness and fear. 1 year later, her doctors were shocked. Her medical reports were much better than they had expected. Her cancer had not just stopped growing, it had begun to reverse. Was it only the medicine that healed her? No. It was the power of her hope, her faith, and her inner strength. There was also a young boy who broke his spine in a terrible car accident. The doctors said he would never be able to walk again, but he refused to believe them. Every day, he would lie in his bed and imagine himself walking, running, and even dancing. For 2 years, he trained his body with physical therapy, but more importantly, he trained his mind. Today, that boy walks with pride, and he runs in marathons. This chapter teaches that your thoughts have a real effect on your health. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring your pain. It means believing in your body's ability to recover. Faith and healing go hand in hand. Here is a simple practice for you. Every morning and every night, close your eyes and gently say these words. My body is healing. I am getting stronger. I am filled with life. Say it with love and belief. Your body's cells are listening. Chapter 15 is about building strong personal relationships. No one in this world succeeds all alone. We are human beings, and as humans we need connection, love, support, and understanding. This chapter explains a simple truth. If your relationships are strong, your life becomes stronger. But today, many relationships are weak because of ego, anger, miscommunication, or just a lack of time. This chapter teaches us how to fix that. A couple had been married for 15 years, but over time they had stopped talking, laughing, and spending quality time together. One day, the husband decided he would make one very small change. Every morning before he left for work, he would gently kiss his wife's hand and say, "Thank you for being with me." In the beginning, she was surprised and didn't really respond. But he did not stop. After about 3 weeks, she started to smile back at him. After 2 months, they started talking again, really talking. After 6 months, they renewed their wedding vows. Their marriage wasn't saved by money or by therapy. It was saved by small, consistent acts of kindness and patience. There was another man who never spoke kindly to his children. He was always busy, always stressed. One day, his young son looked up at him with sad eyes and asked, "Dad, why don't you ever smile when you see me?" That one simple question broke the man's heart. He sat down on the floor, hugged his son tightly, and cried. From that day forward, he started spending just 15 minutes every day playing and talking with his kids. Their bond became unbreakable. This chapter teaches us to say thank you and I love you more often. It teaches us to forgive quickly, to speak gently, and to listen with love. Don't wait to fix your relationships. Start now. Here is a simple practice for better relationships. First, send one message or make one call to a person every day just to appreciate them. Second, hug more and judge less. And third, make time for the people you love. Don't just make excuses. Remember, your success in life is empty if you have no one to share it with. Chapter 16 explains how to make the power of faith work for you. This chapter is truly the heart of the entire book. It says that faith is not just a passive belief. It is action. It is trust. It is a feeling of strength that comes from something beyond yourself. Faith is what keeps you going when the road ahead is dark. Faith is what helps you to keep walking, even when you cannot see the finish line. When you believe that your life has a purpose, that good things will eventually come, and that you are never truly alone, that is when miracles can begin to happen in your life. Imagine a man who lost his job. For 6 long months, not a single company called him back for an interview. His savings were almost gone, and his wife was pregnant. He felt like he was ready to give up. But every single morning, he would put on his old suit, pick up his folder of resumes, and say to himself, "I don't know who will hire me, but I have faith that someone will." One day, while he was waiting at a bus stop, he saw an old man who was struggling to carry his groceries. He helped the man carry them home. It turned out that this old man was the CEO of a company. They started talking, and the CEO was impressed by the man's honesty and positive spirit. He gave him a job, a much better one than he had before. Faith brought that moment to him, not just luck. There was a young girl who wanted to study at a famous university in a foreign country, but her family had no money. Everyone around her said, "It's impossible. Forget it." But she had faith. She applied for 30 different scholarships. She wrote emails every day. She prayed, and she believed. On her 31st application, She received a full scholarship. She is now a professor at a university, teaching other young people to believe in their dreams. This chapter teaches that faith is not the same as hope. It is stronger. It is a decision you make. Faith means taking action even when you cannot see the final result yet. Faith gives power to your actions, peace to your heart, and light to your path. Here is a daily practice for building your faith. First, every morning say this to yourself: I don't know how it will happen, but I have faith that it will. Second, act with courage. Even very small steps, when they are taken with faith, can move mountains. And third, end each day with this thought: I did my best today, and the rest is in bigger hands. Chapter 17 has a very important message. Stop trying to please everyone. This chapter begins with one deep truth. You cannot live a happy and authentic life if you spend all of it trying to make everyone else happy. Most people feel tired and drained, not because they are doing too much work, but because they are doing too much for other people and not enough for themselves. They say yes when they really want to say no, and they agree to do things that hurt their own peace of mind. They hide their true feelings just to avoid conflict with others. This chapter teaches that if you want to live a full life, you have to stop being a people pleaser and start respecting your own truth. There was a girl named Clara who was always known as the nice one. She would stay silent when her friends used her. She agreed to a marriage that she did not want just to please her parents. She worked a job that made her miserable every day just to make her family proud. One day, she completely broke down. She looked at her reflection in the mirror and asked herself, why does everyone else seem to love me, but I don't love myself? That night, she wrote a letter to herself. It said, Dear Clara, I'm sorry. From this day forward, I promise I will protect you. She started to make bold changes. She said no to the marriage. She quit the job she hated. She applied to study music, which had been her childhood dream. Everyone around her was shocked. Some people were even angry with her. But for the very first time in her life, Clara felt free. This chapter teaches that you do not need to explain your life to everyone. Pleasing other people often means betraying yourself. You must choose your own peace, even if it means that some people will walk away from your life. Here is a practice for building self-respect. Every time you feel pressure from someone to do something, ask yourself this question: if I say yes to them, am I saying no to myself? And if the answer is yes, then you must choose yourself. Chapter 18 encourages us to fill our lives with love. This chapter is soft, but it is also very powerful. It says that success without love is empty. A truly rich life is not a life that is filled with money. It is a life that is filled with love. And love is not just about romance. It is about how you treat all people. It is how you speak to strangers. It's in how you forgive, how you help, how you smile, and how you listen. Love is a decision to be kind, even when the world around you is not. There was a young boy who had Down syndrome. Every day at school, his classmates would ignore him. But there was one girl, just one, who would sit with him during lunch. She would share her food with him, she would smile at him, and she would ask him about his day. She didn't think it was a very big deal. But 10 years later, he sent her a message. It said, "Your love saved my life. I wanted to die back then, but you made me feel like I was seen." Your small act of love had a big impact. This chapter teaches that you never lose by loving. Even when the world feels cold, your warmth matters. Don't just chase after goals and achievements. Build love all around you. Here is how you can practice love daily. First, say, "I love you" more often to your parents, your siblings, your partner, and your friends. Second, try to help someone without expecting anything in return. Third, say something kind to a stranger every single day. Remember, at the end of your life, people will not remember how much money you had. They will remember how much you loved. Chapter 19 has a message for when you feel like quitting. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. This chapter is very emotional. It speaks directly to the person who is about to quit, to the one who is tired, to the one who thinks, maybe this dream is just not for me. But the truth is, you are often much closer to success than you think. Many people quit just one step before they reach their goal. Why? Because they let the feeling of exhaustion speak louder than their feeling of purpose. There was a gold miner who dug in the same spot for 5 years. Every day, he worked for hours and hours under the hot sun. One day, after finding nothing again, he said, "This is useless." He gave up and sold his land for a very cheap price. The next person who bought the land started digging in the exact same spot. He dug just 3 feet deeper, and he struck a massive vein of gold. There was a woman who wanted to become a writer. She sent her first book to 22 different publishers, and all 22 of them rejected her. She cried and she almost gave up on her dream. But her best friend told her, "Don't let their rejection kill your gift. You just need one yes to change everything." So she sent her book to one more publisher, the 23rd one. They said yes. That book became a global bestseller. That woman was J.K. Rowling. This chapter teaches that you do not need 100 people to believe in you. You just need one. And that one person must be you. If something feels hard, it often means that it is worth it. Struggles are signs of progress, not signs of failure. Here is a practice to help you keep going. 1. When you feel like you want to quit, ask yourself, why did I start in the first place? 2. Think about your future self, the person who will thank you for not giving up. And 3. Say this to yourself every day. I have come too far to stop now. I am not finished. You were not born to give up. You were born to rise again and again. Chapter 20. The final chapter teaches us to live our lives with power and purpose. This is a message for your soul. It says that you are not an accident. You were made for something bigger. Most people in the world just exist. They wake up, they go to work, they eat, they sleep, and they call that a life. But deep inside, they feel empty because they are not living with a sense of purpose. This chapter teaches you how to live with a fire in your heart. There was a man who worked at a call center. Every day, he would repeat the same boring script over and over. But one day, he asked himself a very important question. Is this really why I was born? He began volunteering on the weekends, helping poor students learn English. And something lit up inside of him. He eventually quit his job and opened a small school. It grew and grew because his purpose gave him unstoppable power. Today, 2,000 students are learning in his schools, all because one man asked a bold question. There was a woman who worked in a hospital cleaning the floors. Most people ignored her. But she smiled at every single patient. She would sing quietly while she cleaned. She would say a silent prayer for the sick people she saw. When she finally retired, the hospital staff made a video for her. In the video, they said, "You weren't just cleaning the floors, you were healing us with your spirit." Even the smallest job can become powerful when it is done with love and purpose. This chapter teaches that your life has a meaning, even if you cannot see it yet. Find what makes you feel truly alive, and then do more of it. The world needs your special gift. Don't hide it. How can you live with more power and purpose? First, ask yourself every day, What is one thing I can do today that will matter tomorrow? Second, do something that makes you feel proud of yourself even if no one else is watching. And third, don't chase a perfect life. Chase a meaningful one. So now you have heard the truth from this amazing book. This is not just a book summary. It is a mirror. It is a mirror that shows you what you have been thinking and, more importantly, what you are capable of becoming. You do not need to be a genius. You do not need to be lucky. You just need to believe, to really truly believe, that your thoughts can shape your life. Because they can. In fact, they already are. If you fill your mind with fear, you will live a life of fear. But if you choose to fill your mind with faith, with courage, with peace, and with kindness, then no matter what happens on the outside, you will always be strong on the inside. Dr. Peale did not give us magic. He gave us a mindset. And that mindset is this: you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your doubts. You are powerful. You are capable. You are loved. And you are still in the process of becoming everything you were born to be. So from today, I encourage you to speak kindly to yourself, think boldly, dream again, love deeply, and believe with all of your heart that something beautiful is on its way to you, because it is. And if this message has changed your thoughts even just a little, then it has already started to change your life. Subscribe for more life-changing book summaries, more motivation, and more English learning with me. And please always remember, the power of positive thinking is already inside you. I will see you in the next video.